Welcome to the Nordic Stitches podcast. My name is Lily. I'm coming to you from my home in central Norway. I am a Norwegian knitting designer. In my podcast, I talk about my designs, my spinning, knitting, yarn, and other crafts that I dip my fingers into along my crafty journey. My entire life, I've been passionate about and fought for human and animal rights and the environment. And because these passions have a huge impact on how and why I craft, I also talk about these things. I love, embrace, and fight for diversity. No matter your background, you are welcome here. I hope you'll stay with me throughout the episode, maybe grab a good beverage and something to craft on, and let's get this podcast started. Hello! Welcome to my new home! If you didn't already catch the video, I have made a vlog on it. I moved, obviously. I am coming to you today from an apartment building in Steinkjer city in mid-Norway, or as I like to say, central Norway. But someone started to ask me where central Norway is, so it's the center of Norway, right in the middle. I am today going to talk about a few obvious things and a few things that you're not seeing, but that doesn't mean they're not there. I have quite a bit of admin to go through today, so before I go there, I do recommend you stay with me throughout for the entire thing, but there is timestamps down below the video together with links and information about everything I talk about in this video, so make sure to check that out. Okay, let's get right into admin. Okay, so I moved. A lot of you is already asking me questions about house tour and what does it look like and stuff like that. I'm not going to give you a house tour. I'm going to show you glimpses throughout these podcasts and these upcoming vlogs throughout the fall, which I will be back to later in admin. But I'm not going to make a video specific for a house tour or do that in a segment of the podcast. So sorry, that's just not going to happen. But I do have a fireplace. I am allowed to live here for a year. It's just, this apartment was free now, which is why I grabbed it now. I'm still on the renting market, but I had reached my limit in mental capacity as to how being homeless actually felt. So I figured, you know what, just do this now, get this apartment and move. My dad, who I visited, was kind enough to drive me down here for the viewing of the apartment. I didn't know if I was gonna get it. It took 4 hours driving just one way. So we packed everything that I had brought with me from my mom's place to my dad's place. And we just packed it all in the car and just drove, you know, just hoping we would be unloading it here, which we did. And he drove back and I am very grateful. All my things, as you know, if you've been with the channel for a while, I'm sorry. To new and returning viewers, welcome. My goodness, it doesn't take many weeks, does it, for it to get out of, yeah, oh well, practice. I'm off to such a good start. This should be an interesting episode. Like I said, I had things on storage since April, and yeah, my brother and his new girlfriend, he's actually moving in with her, so right in the midst of him driving a long distance, moving his own things with her, they both helped me remove all the things from my storage unit and here, and that took them two rounds. I was here and sorting everything out, and they had to do it in 2 rounds, and from the storage unit and here it took just over an hour to drive, so that was probably somewhere between 4.5 and 5 hours extra driving for them, and I, in the middle of their own moving, I am just beyond grateful and very appreciative of that help, and being reunited with my stash is pretty amazing. I am aware that I have probably messed up everyone's YouTube feed. I've lost a ton of subscribers after I started uploading all the Vlogmas videos again, but I had announced it both here on the channel on numerous occasions and on Instagram, which by the way is the place to follow me if you want real time updates on not only my designs but what's going on in the background and everything. So that is the place to follow me, and everything, like I said, is linked down below. If you're not familiar, and I'm probably not going to talk about this ever again after this because I'm so sick of repeating it, but so many of you are coming and are new. So I was hacked and deleted back in April. I had Norway's largest knitting podcast here on YouTube. I had over 6,000 subscribers, and someone didn't have anything better to do that day, so they hacked me and they deleted me. There was no way I could get that channel back, so I have re-uploaded the material I already had on the storage USB drive. And what was left after the summer, I've had crappy internet. I've been going around traveling, and I just hadn't had time in addition to the bad internet. So I've now re-uploaded the entire 2017 and 2018 Vlogmas series. And that means that a whole lot of videos enter into your feed and messed up a little bit, and for that I'm sorry, but it wasn't announced, so and I had to do it now like that because in October many other things are going to happen on this channel, and I just wanted it over with and done with, because if not it would have just so again, I'm sorry for the mess, and well, there you have it. Oh, and thank you to everybody who's rewatched that series, those videos. My goodness, I was not prepared for that, so thank you, that's awesome. I have set on monetization on this channel. We have reached 1,000 subscribers. I will be back to that in a minute. And when you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of people having watched your videos, you are eligible for putting ads on your videos so that you can make a little bit of money. And when I say a little bit, I really do mean very little. But the fact is that how I work, it takes a day to make a podcast, and that is hours that I could have spent doing other things, making money. So for it to feel a little bit more worth it, and I do not mean that in a disrespectful way, in any kind of way, I have added ads on the video. Now, I don't mind ads myself. I watch them when other people put them on their channels because, one, I know and appreciate all the work that goes into making a podcast or videos in general. And also, if a commercial comes on, I go and make myself a cup of coffee, and most likely the podcast is already on and in roll when I get back with my cup. So yeah. So to those of you who choose to watch the commercials, thank you very, very much. Everything I earn will go right into upgrading everything for the podcast and keeping this channel alive. So thank you very much. So the 1,000 subscriber mark again. It's just, oh my goodness. I am just first very appreciative and thankful and grateful and all that jazz for everyone who has returned after my hacking and deleted drama, and everyone new who's just curious about what this channel is all about. And so we need to have a giveaway, and to do that I want to revive the Ravelry Group because that's completely dormant. No one is in there making any kind of action, and I can't be the one doing everything. So if you want to keep the Ravelry Group alive, we need to do something. So we're going to start with a giveaway. Now I'm going to open a thread, and that will be open when we hit publish on this video. So you will see this Friday, I think, and today's Wednesday. So I will open a thread and it will say 1,000 subscribers giveaway, and you just click that and answer the question I haven't decided on but put in there. So there you have it. Just answer that question, and in the next episode I will have drawn a winner and I will announce it here, and then you need to contact me. So that's how that works. Again, thank you so much for subscribing. It truly, truly means a lot. I wouldn't do this if it wasn't for the fact that I wanted to get in touch with you. So you clicking and you watching and you subscribing and hitting the bell notification to get notification when I upload videos, and you know, leaving comments down below, that's the most fun. Just thank you. It just it makes it all worthwhile, so keep that up. Now for a little bit of a bummer. I've announced this on Instagram already, and I've talked to the festival ladies. For reasons I am not going to announce on the great interwebs, I will not be going to Bergen Knitting Festival. I had looked forward to this more than I look forward to Christmas, and that is saying something. But something came up, and I will be unable to go, and it makes me very, very sad. But no matter what next year, unless someone dies and I have to go to a funeral next year, I will be going to Bergen Knitting Festival. It's just the disappointment of not being able to go. It's just too great to handle, really. I just love Bergen. I love the knitting community, and I had so much looked forward to meeting fellow podcasters and you who watch, and I just don't really want to talk about it. The incoming goodies section is now history. I am trying my best to not purchase a whole lot of things and minimize my footprint, and constantly buying new things isn't minimizing my footprint. So instead of promoting makers when I bought yarn from them or things or gadgets, I'm going to mention them throughout the podcast when I use their yarn. So that is just, you know, going to keep being it. But if I buy yarn, I'm just not going to show it. You're just going to have to wait until I actually use it. So for you, that's the only difference. If I get gifts that are related to this podcast, I will of course mention it. I'm doing a couple of advent calendar yarn minis swaps, and if I decide to do Vlogmas, I haven't decided on that yet. If I decide to do Vlogmas, I will talk about that in the Vlogmas, but I will not talk about it in the podcast, so you see where this is going. So if I buy yarn, for example, and I do vlogs, I will include it in the vlogs. So if you want more, just have to watch the vlogs. Also, YouTube statistics tell me that, is it 70 or 80% of you doesn't stick around for that segment anyway, which means that I'm using my time on something the majority of you aren't interested in. I don't have a whole lot of hours, being chronically ill with pain and fatigue, so it's an easy decision to cut it out. But great news for those of you who miss those 2 or 3 minutes of me just walking along a hiking track with music added on top of it. That's back. At the end of this video, you will get 2, 3, 5, 14 minutes, I don't know, with me just walking somewhere, showing you a hiking track, showing you some water, trees and mountains and all that Norwegian nature that you love, and I will just add music to it. So that's a non-talking segment, but that is back. So yay for all of you who missed that one. I will be doing Vlogtober. It was very up in the air if I was going to do it, because I didn't know how long I was going to be permitted to live here. When it turns out I'm going to be able to live here out August next year, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do Vlogtober. And like I said, before anyone asks, I do not know if I will be doing Vlogmas, so just stay tuned, you know, for Vlogtober and the podcast episodes, and you will, you know, be updated if I decide to do Vlogmas this year. I've done it for 3 years running, but 2026 2016. 2016 is gone. Oh, sorry, did I kick you? Which sucks after the hacking and deleted drama. I didn't have enough storage room on my USB hard drive. I had just managed to save up to buy a new one when all this happened, and I had to change battery in my camera. Since the last episode, I've started a new vlog series. Now these are slow vlogs. These are videos of me just knitting somewhere or crafting somewhere without talking, without adding music, and they are meant to have a calming effect on you. And so far it seems that people are enjoying it and appreciating it. So if you see the title Slow Vlog when I upload a video, that is what that means. Up until now, those are videos from outdoors crafting. I've uploaded a video on knitting outside and spinning outside, and the same day this goes live, I believe there's another one. No, that went live. Yeah, knitting by the seaside. So there's 3 vlogs now that this goes live. There's a lot of videos now and coming, so it's a lot of things to keep track on. But yeah, so that is a new video series, and whenever I'm looking down, I'm looking at my show notes, just not being rude or inattentive or anything. My phone is actually on flight mode when I record, so yeah, like I said, it's meant to have a calming effect on you because the world is just going high speed and everything needs to happen like this all the time, and I'm just I just want to sit down, relax, regroup, and enjoy some silence. If there's silence, you know, where you are. So yeah, those are meant to be calm, relaxing vlogs, and we shall see how that goes. It's a test project these days, so yeah, check it out if you're interested. Those will of course too be linked down below. Now we have an announcement that I am super excited about. Jade of So Perfect Purls podcast and Instagram. I've mentioned her before in the podcast in terms of spinning, because she is one of those who has one of those Instagram feeds that makes you just want to buy all the fiber, you want to make all the things. The same with her podcast, so both her Instagram and podcast. And when she spins yarn, you just go, wow. And so she sent me a message on Instagram asking me if I wanted to co-host a hand spinning or hand spun along with her, and I said yes. I would love to. She came up with the idea and I just dived right in. So we have announced it on Instagram, and I'm announcing it here, and you can check out her podcast. I will link it here and down below. She is worth checking out. My goodness, all the things she makes is just wonderful, and she's such a lovely spirit to watch. And we are talking about opening threads in our Ravelry groups, everything again linked down below. But also stay tuned on Instagram for the following hashtag here. It's an along, so any crafts, it's an along for hand spun, making yarn and using your hand spun. So you can partake either by spinning or making something with hand spun. It doesn't have to be 100% hand spun yarn in your project, as long as you use hand spun in it. And or you can do both. You can spin your yarn and make something with it. It's up to you. I know a lot of you are saying to me that I've inspired you to start drop spinning, so maybe it's time for you guys now to pull it out and join us and actually learn the craft, because I know a lot of you have bought the kits but have waited to start. What an opportunity. There will of course be prices, and I will get back to both prices and more details about the along as we move through the fall and winter, because it starts October 1st and runs out November, so it ends December 1st, right in time for all the vlogmases that's coming into your feed. So yeah, I am super excited, and again, Jade, thank you so much for thinking of me and asking me. This is going to be so much fun. We are finally at the part of the podcast where we are going to talk about the knitting. first thing before we go into these things, I'm going to talk about today is a new design. I've had this design done, both the pattern and knit up, since summer 2017. So for more than 2 years, this has just been lingering in the closet and on the USB hard drive, just waiting for me to press publish, really. It's the Seaglass shawl. I had Carolina, my faithful sample knitter and test knitter, knit one up. And just with any of my other designs, this is also a repetitive pattern, meaning that you can knit it with any yarn and any needle size. And so I knit mine in fingering weight. I'm gonna put the yarn information here. And so this is yarn from Dragon Hoard Yarns, and this is Yarn Cafe Creations. I'm blanking on the name here, but this is Selkie. I just said the information instead of putting it on the screen. Anyway, this is in fingering weight. It is inspired by Seaglass in all its colors and shapes and sizes, with a simple lace panel that you repeat for as long as you want to. And then when you're done, this border fits all those stitch counts that you end up with. So when you're done with the lace panel, just knit a border with double seat stitch as written in the pattern. And you decide how much you want to knit of each section. So it's completely adaptable. Like I said before, I love making patterns like this. For mine, I probably used about 80 grams of each color. And I absolutely love how it came out. I've not used it a lot since I designed it, just because I hadn't published it, so I didn't want questions about it until I was ready. But it is now released and available in my Ravelry shop. So to everybody who's already purchased the pattern, thank you so much, because I went live on Instagram announcing that it was live. So like I said, Instagram is the place to be, and follow me if you want real-time updates on things like this. And if I've had time to, you will see a video clip here of me wearing it out in nature. And if not, we're just gonna jump into talking about these two. We shall see what I have time to do between now and Friday when you see this. We can start with the obvious that I'm wearing. It is the Sweig. I believe that it is designed in inspiration of a German author or something, but yeah, Zweig, as I found out by Googling, is also the German name for a twig or a small branch. The arms are a little short, so I will be re-knitting, I will be unpicking here. Come on, focus on the arms, there you go. I will be unpicking here, frogging back, knitting them longer, and then knitting the rib. This has a twisted rib in it, so I went for a twisted rib both on the neck, on the sleeves, and on the bottom of the yoke. Focus, please, thank you. And so I was a little bit unsure if it was going to pop out, because it's a very low contrast. So it's color work here, then there's the lace part, and then there's a little bit of color work here. And I haven't washed it yet, which is probably why it's a little bit scrunched up in the neck, but it's fine. It's worked top down. And I absolutely love how it came out. The small, no, not the small, the low contrast actually doesn't hurt, so I am very pleased with how that came out. I'm just gonna rearrange you guys a little bit. So that is what I'm wearing, and these are the yarns that I used. Now this has a little bit less in it just because I've started using it in a design coming later. Not gonna talk about that, but that's a teaser. This is the color that I used for the contrasting part and for There we go. And this is the color that I used for the main body. So both are yarns that I purchased from Millas Mikrofargeri, which is a dyer that is here in central Norway. I think she dyes from Trondheim, which is Norway's third largest city. This is called Desert Sunset, lovely speckled yarn, and this is called Salvie. This is a 50-50 merino and silk non-superwash, and it is just the softest, most lovely fiber and fabric I could ever wish for, and I am so happy I purchased a lot of those yarns. Because yeah, I did that. Anyway, I absolutely love how it came out. I was a little unsure if I was going to like the speckles in the green, but I really did. And from here and until here, I didn't alternate the greens. I just went for it. But then after this color work, I alternated colors every other row. No, every other row. So knit one with one, change, knit one, yeah, you know, you get the drift. But for the arms, I didn't alternate, and I don't know if you can see it, but it has no effect whatsoever. So that dyer is pretty amazing. Because usually with hand-dyed yarn, I keep kicking the tripod, sorry. Usually with hand-dyed yarn, it's necessary to alternate colors, but for this one, it's fine. Okay, so let's talk about this one. And you're now going to see all the mess that I haven't unpacked yet. Just, that's how it goes. This is the Sagavoll, ta-da, long cardigan. I will insert video of it after I've talked about it a little bit. Like you know, if you've been with this channel for just a few months really, I knit this summer and it didn't fit because I messed up the swatch. This time, I not only knit the swatch, I washed it too. Ta-da! Problem now is that I washed it and it came out exactly the same. I'm going to get a new washing machine tomorrow. And so I'm just going to have to hope that it comes out not messed up, because I really want it this time. The first one I didn't wash the swatch and it came out way too small, and so I ended up gifting that to Amelia of Arctic Yarns and Arctic Knitting Podcast, who I visited in June. But yeah, so the Sagavoll Kofte is finally finished. And as you can see, it is super long. I've always wanted to knit myself a long coat jacket type, and I finally did it, and it weighs next to nothing. I am going to hang it back up. So this is the back. This is the back. Absolutely stunning. I have recorded the sticking part, and I will include that in the video here as well. But first, let's have a look at what this beauty looks like on. Okay, so that was how it wears. How awesome is that? Oh my goodness. So I knit the whole thing here on 3. Everything goes as planned. Just gonna hold it here. I knit the body and the arms on 3mm needles and the ribbings on 1mm needles. There's a piece of my DNA in there. Did I say 1mm needles? 2mm needles, in case I said 1. Anyway, I am absolutely loving how it came out, and you've just seen it being worn. For the Sagavoll Kofte, I have used Holst yarns in their noble base. This is Jade, and this is Whisper. I'm going to put on the screen how much it weighs. So this is actually just a notification to myself and reminder to weigh this baby, because it weighs, like I said, next to nothing. You wouldn't think it, but this is a very thin yarn and it has a lot of meters to the grams. So 150 gram cake like this is 333 meters, which is the same, approximately the same as 364 yards. So just 2 of these will get you a very long way. And this is the second ball of blue. And I hardly touched it. And like you saw, it is a long, long cardigan. And for the white, I barely touched the white. I used, let's see, I have the ball bands here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 6. That should have been a behind the scenes. Anyway, this is 6 ball bands, and all of that adds up to, with the buttons, it weighs this much. Yeah, it's a lovely yarn. I absolutely love Noble, and it has Geelong wool and cashmere in it. So 95% Geelong wool and 5% cashmere, which is so soft and lovely. It's like silk almost. It's like a woolly silk, if you can call it that. It says to wash on 30 degrees and iron on 1. It does come very affordable. It has a little bit of spin oil in it still when you get it, but you won't notice that when you knit with it. You don't get greasy or anything like that. But because it does, it is extremely important. And this is a little bit ironic considering the first one I knit that I'm going to say this, but it is extremely important that you not only knit a swatch, but you wash it. You want to knit the swatch and wash it just as you would the finished garment you're knitting or accessory. Just so you know, gauge, because that matters. Yeah, topic for another day, probably a rant for another day, but gauge matters, and especially when you have a little bit of spin oil left in the yarn, you really want to make sure that you do all those steps. And you're going to save a lot of time doing that, because let's face it, I knit a whole cardigan, you know, center thigh length, and I couldn't wear it after just because I messed up my swatch. So learn from my mistake. Anyway, that's the 2 finished garments that I have. This one I took, it took me about 2 weeks to knit, and this one, it's not good to say really, because there was a lot of days I didn't knit on it at all. This one too. And just because I didn't do the X pattern, I just went for plain stock in it. It actually has this X pattern down here and on the body, but I just, you know, I didn't feel it. So this is a pattern by Boiling Knitworks by Caitlin Hunter, and this is a pattern only available in Norwegian in Kofteboken 2. So Kofteboken 2. And you can't buy it online if you're outside Norway, I think. If anyone knows of a way to do that, drop a comment down below, but I will not be able to help you with translations because there aren't any. So yeah, those were the 2 biggest finished objects that I had off the needles since you saw me last. I've also finished a pair of socks. Well, that's not fair. I finished 2, but one of them are thicker socks, just for winter. Yeah, next time I finish a pair, maybe I'll show it, but I showed you the yarn in the previous episode. The typical Norwegian sock yarn, thick sock yarn. For this next pair of socks, I have used this yarn. This I won in Story Eyes Allie's. I'm just using her Instagram name now. Little Drops of Wonderful, lovely Allie, who is Story Eyes Allie on Instagram. Focus on the yarn, please. There we go. I won this in her previous year's sock along. This was a sock blank. I have knit with sock blanks before, and I enjoyed it, but this time I didn't, so I took it all over on the Knit Naughty that I showed you in the previous episode, and I soaked it and I just hung it stretched to dry. I know that a lot of people is going to say that that kills the stretch in the yarn, but does it? At least not for superwash yarns. I used 2mm needles. This is naturally dyed by Hannah, who has the Hannah of Sheep's Alley podcast, sorry. And I absolutely love how it knit up. So this is the pair of socks that I knit. And I'm blanking on the name, sorry Elizabeth, but I'm gonna put it on the screen. It is inspired by Bergen. I was going to wear them when I went to Bergen Knitting Festival, but you know, that's not gonna happen, so I'm just gonna wear them for fall. Sorry about the lighting today, but yeah, apartment building, not a lot of options. So this is the socks. I'm just gonna show you one by one, because you know, they're finished. On Blockers by Patricia of P Fortune and Knitography. I love her stuff. Always 20 rounds of ribs, heel flap and gusset, and just a regular toe. And we're gonna check out the sock. Now, this pattern is designed for toe up, which I didn't take into consideration because I knit my socks top down. Are you done moving your furniture? I hope you can hear that. So my socks look a little different than the pattern Elizabeth actually designed, because the pattern is supposed to go that way, and this is supposed to resemble, I think, umbrellas. Taking into consideration it was designed for Bergen, which is a very rainy city. But I knit it this way, so my pattern actually goes this way, and that creates quite a different look, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. Like I said, I love how this yarn knits up. It is so stinking cute. It's just the perfect pair of socks for fall. I'm not gonna put them back on the blockers because I'm gonna wear them. Not today, but maybe this weekend. So that is pair 1 for Allie's now 3rd annual sock along for Strictly Come Dancing. That's the UK version. In Norway we have the same program, but we call it Shall We Dance, and that translates to Skal Vi Danse, which translates to Shall We Dance. Oh my goodness. Yeah, out of practice. Do you have that show? Do you watch that show? Are you in the knit along? Drop a comment down below. I'd love to know. So yeah, my first pair for the knit along. This year I'm not going to do as many as I've done the previous years, but you know, I love the rule bending. It's part of what makes it fun. I have started 2 more projects, and then we're going to jump into spinning after. One of the projects I started is another pair, and I say this, I know I didn't show it in the podcast last year when I actually did knit them, but last year I designed a pair of mittens called Nordic Winter Mittens, and I have mitten blockers from Patricia too, but I'm not going to use them today. I'm going to put it on my hand. Nordic Winter Mittens. I designed it. I had help in my sample slash test knitter in knitting it up, who took the pictures for the pattern, and then later that fall I knit a pair, but I gifted it away. And now I'm knitting a pair for me. So this is the palm. And this is the sides, and this is the front. I'm using gray and black. I don't have a whole lot of that in my wardrobe. So yeah, that's what that looks like. It's obviously not being washed and blocked or something like that yet, but it fits pretty well. It's got a little bit of room here. It's a little bit loosey-goosey, but I'm using Holst Yarns Noble Base, which I just talked about. And it's going to shrink a little bit and plump up a lot when it has been washed. So that is a pattern that is available in my Ravelry shop, both as a single pattern and in an ebook with all my mitten patterns. So if you're interested in that, maybe check that out. But I'm very excited to knit a pair for me, because that was the plan last year too, but you know, things happen. I knit the rib on those on 2mm needles, and on the... So normally I knit my mittens with 2mm for the cuff and 2.5 for the mittens. But since this is going to shrink a little, I went for 2.75mm needles. 2.75mm needles on the mitten itself. And we shall see how that turns out when it's washed. I'm also knitting on a new stranded knitted cardigan. For the ribs for this one, I'm using 2.5, and the rest of the body I am knitting on 3mm needles. Cubic wooden. And I am knitting now on the first sleeve. This will just be an in-between project, so don't expect too much progress of it for very quickly, but I'm knitting another Sagavoll Kofte. This is a loose kofte. This pattern here is actually called loose in Norwegian, translates to lice. Anyway, it's a very traditional pattern. It's my favorite of all the patterns that are Norwegian and traditional. And one of the things I really love about this pattern, it's just so adaptable. You can add or remove or add different repeats. And so this is what my sleeve looks like. And I'm going to show you pictures of different versions of this pattern. So I am knitting the version with a rounded yoke, sweater style. This one. And as you can see, the pattern on the sleeves here are quite different than from the one that I'm knitting. Just checking the recording, yeah. And these are two versions of the same kofte. This is the sweater version. And as you can see, my sleeve resembles this sleeve a little bit more, but it's not the same. And this is the cardigan version, kofte. Both are actually accepted as kofte. So this is my favorite pattern. I've knitted several times, and now I needed to knit it again because I wore the last one to death. Here you can see a ribbed version of it. It's knit in black, there you go, or dark gray. And I've actually knit this one too, but ended up giving that away. The first 10 years of me being an avid knitter, I actually didn't knit for me, so I'm doing something about that these days. This is the beanie version. This is mittens and socks, and they come in very many, like I said, variations. And I'm knitting mine again. Now I'm gonna ask you, what yarn do you think I'm using? I may have a thing for Holst Yarn's Noble yarn because I'm using the exact same color for the base here as I'm doing here. But now you can see the difference in using contrast colors. So that's the blue one and this is the brown one. So I'm using Whisper for the main color, and for the pattern color I'm using, oh, it came without a name, really? Maybe it's Savannah. Yeah, Savannah. There we go. And this color that I'm using for the contrast is called Savannah. Savannah! And I will be making project pages on, I think this one's done actually, except for all the pictures on Ravelry. That one is not done when I'm recording this episode, but yeah. So that was all the knitting for today. Now let's talk a little bit about spinning. Like I said, Jade and I are hosting a along for all the handspun, and I am currently spinning up some natural white merino. I will set the twist, soak and set the twist when I'm done with all 150 grams. This is the first 50 grams. It's a little bit more than 50 grams, 52 or 54 grams. And I have no idea how many meters and stuff like that this is, but that is how far I am on that project. And this is how much I have spun for the second 50 gram focus issues today. There we go. This is how much I've spun so far on the next 50 gram hank. I'm using, as always, my drop spindles from Louise of Spin City, UK. And this is the single ply so far. And when I'm done with that, I will ply it Navajo style and spin the last 50 grams that is down here. And there's so much fiber in the zipper right now, I can't actually close it. So when this project is done, I need to find something else to do with this bag instead of using it for spinning, because it's too pretty to to not be able to use. Like I said in the previous episode, I got this in a swap from So Sweet Violet of Jules. Jules of So Sweet Violet podcast. My goodness. Like I said, renovations in the building. Oh my goodness. That was all for knitting. I'm gonna check my show notes to see what else I need to talk about today. That's all for this podcast. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I'm not numbering the episodes after I got back. I did that when I first started, but you know what? It's not a TV series, so numbering my episodes, it's not going to happen. I did that before hacking and deleting, but I'm just gonna name them and keep it simple for myself. Yeah, drop me a comment down below before you leave, maybe even hit the thumbs up button, you know, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you will be notified when I upload new videos. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to just watch my ramblings, and you know, thank you for letting me keep you company, because there's a lot of podcasts out there and you choosing to press play on my videos really do mean a lot, so thank you for that. And yeah, enjoy the last few clips here of my hike. There are so many beautiful areas that I can take a walk and just enjoy nature in my new hometown, so I hope that you find it as beautiful as me. Autumn here is in full swing, so enjoy, and I will see you for the next episode, hopefully next week. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day, whoever you are, wherever you are. Be kind, be good, spread love and acceptance, embrace diversity, because without diversity, the world just isn't pretty. And yeah, bye. I love this place. I love this place. Get out, take a hike. It's good for you.
vlogs, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I I forgot what I was saying. Brain fart. I've had right.